Hello everyone, I wish that everything is good for you. So today in this video I will show you how to use data binding in Angular. So now I will give you a little definition about it. So data binding is the process that allows communication between the component's TypeScript code and the HTML template. What does that mean? We know that Angular is composed by components, and every component contains three important files: TypeScript code, HTML template, and style file. So the data binding make the communication between TypeScript code and HTML template possible. So how we can do that? There is three mechanisms in data binding. The first, call it interpolation. The second, property binding, and the third, event binding. So what is interpolation? Interpolation is the mechanism that makes us possible to display a variable from TypeScript code to the HTML template so we can see it. And property binding, we know that every element in HTML contain like properties, and these properties has like values. So if we want these values to be like variable, we can use this property binding. And event binding is make every button and add every to every element an action. And at the end we will see something else that's called two-way binding. That means we need to go to have the information from TypeScript code to HTML template and vice versa. Okay, so let's go now to the code. This is the structure of the code. So we have first component that's called app. So we have an HTML and we have CSS and we have TypeScript code. So let's run this project. So to run the project, goes to terminal and open new terminal and simply write the command ng-serve. That means Angular serve. So you will wait some seconds and you can open the project by localhost 4200. Here we go. So this is the standard page that we can see. For example, here we have data binding example. It is the name the project that I write. So to create the project, you just need to write ng new in the file and the name of the project. For example, my project is data binding examples, and you click OK, so you can create the project. So let's change that. This information you will find it in app component HTML. So I will delete that. And to know, just for example, search about hello. So you will see here hello title, and this is a data binding interpolation. So we will see that in some examples. So let's delete that and refresh the code or refresh the project. So we will have like a blank project. So let's, for example, we will go to TypeScript code. Here we will not use this router outlet because we will not use it. And we have here a variable called title and the name of the project. So let's display that in our HTML template. So very simple, opening curly bracket and closing curly bracket and write the variable title. And by this you can see here that we have the name of the project displayed in our template. So the interpolation mechanism just work with string variables. So every variable he transform it to a string, then he display it. So we can use some methods like to uppercase like that. So we can have our a title with uppercase, and we can have like lowercase. Okay. And also in interpolation you can make like calculation, simple calculation. For example, let's have 10 plus 21. You will have 31 in the template here. So, but this is not recommended to do. So let's have something else, or let's go to data binding. Let's create another variable first. For example, let's have first name. For example, my first name is Alaric, so I need to display that in my template. So just go back to your HTML code and open the curly brackets and write first name. Okay, this is the variable. So if we want every one of them in a line, we can use like new line or BR, yeah, or just make every one of them in paragraph. So let's go and let's go to the second one. So this is the first one. We call it interpolation. So I will make a comment here. Interpolation mechanism. So now we will go to another example that it is what we call property binding. So in this property binding, we need to make like the property of a tag a variable. For example, let's have a tag image, and we know that image has a source that will give him, for example, a link to an image. So let's search about, for example, image, and we take whatever the image we have. For example, this image, I will copy the image address and I will paste it here. So after that, we can see that the image is displayed. So let's organize that. I will create a paragraph here and put this inside it. Okay, that's great. So now what we call the property binding. The property binding is make this source like dynamic, because here when we create this component, it is like static. We can change this image by changing or working with the components many times. So to do that, just go to your TypeScript code and create a variable, call it for example image URL, and copy your link, copy the link to the variable, and after that just go back to your HTML and use this brackets, and here add your variable that is image URL. Okay, and by that we have the same results. So for example, I will take this and I will duplicate it, for example the second time. So I can go back. For example, I will take this image, copy address, and go here and create another link called image URL 1 and copy the link here. So after that, I will go back to my HTML and change that to 1. So if go back, I will see that I have another image. That's great. So we're using the same code but just changing the property, and by using property binder, and it will work. Now let's have the third part. It is the event binding. So let's write a comment, event binding. So simply for that, for example, we have a paragraph that contain a button, and the button has an action or an event. So this action is when we click, we have a method that's called, for example, on submit, and here we will write submit. So I have this error. Why? Because I didn't define this method in my component. So let's go to my component and create what we call it on submit, and we will make it just simple, like will display to us console log in the console, like hello. That's mean when we click on this button, we will display hello every time in the console. So to display console, go here and click inspect, and after that click on console. So we will go to submit, and when I click, I notice here that I have hello world that's coming from app component TypeScript. This is great. So, and you can add something else, is like having a submit, having an event. So having a variable event that we type event, and you will have like details of this event. So console log. What is meant by event? The event of clicking will give us a lot of information. So we will write, for example, here event details. Okay, and we will display event here. Okay, and to work for this project to work, we need to add here dollar event. So I go here, not plus but virgule, or so I will have, when I click on submit, I will have a lot of information related to the event or the action that we made. Okay, so just add here a virgule or comma. So now we will see something else. It's what we called a two-way binding, or like we say in the first of this video, two-way binding is having the information going from HTML template to TypeScript, and from TypeScript to HTML template. So how we can do that? So for this reason, for example, we will take this example. I will have an input, the type text, and they will have like form control, that we call it, for example, first or name, for example name, and they will have a paragraph, that displaying this name just by interpolation. So to do that, I need to go back to app components and using what we call reactive forms module, and also adding form control. So to do that, let's go here and create the variable name that will be a form control type. Okay, here you need to add new to complete that. So after this, we can see in our code, we will see in our code after that we can see in our code that we have an object here. So we need to go back here and add a value to that. So if I write something here, for example my name Alaric, it will be displayed in the code. That's mean that when I write it here, it's go to the form control, and after that this takes the variable and it will go back to HTML and display it. Okay, so this is what we have about data binding in Angular. Thank you for your watching, and see you next time.